Namaste and all. Welcome back to another English online session. Today, I am going to continue the explanation of the chapter The Proposal. It was written by Anton Chekhov, a famous short story writer in Russia. This story was included in the textbook First Flight. It is an one-act play. I already told you. The main characters are Shubukov, Lomov, and Shubukov's daughter Natalia. Lomov is a young bachelor, a wealthy man who came here in Shubukov's house. His intention is to propose Shubukov's daughter Natalia. Initially, he hesitated to reveal his intention. Later, he revealed it to Chubukov. Then, a different reaction, which means Lomov didn't expect that easily Chubukov accept this. He accepted. He became happy because after the marriage, both their property became enhanced. Chubukov is the person who gives importance to their wealth and property. So he sent Natalia. They had a conversation. Initially, Lomov didn't reveal why he came here. He just talked about the families. Then, unintentionally, they fall into an argument. The argument is about Oxen Meadows, the property that both sides claiming that their property, and Lomov is giving reasons why he was claiming that it's his property, and the argument is not ending. It is heated again and again. They continuing their argument. So there I have stopped in the last class. Now let me continue the explanation of this lesson. Natalia thinks of it as some kind of joke because she believes the land is theirs since past 300 years, and now someone comes claiming it to be his property. Although the land isn't of much worth, only around 300 rubles, but Natalia is highly disappointed by the unfairness. Lomov begs Natalia to at least listen to what he was trying to say. He mentions that her great grandfather's peasants used to bake bricks for his aunt's grandmother, and as he continued talking, he was interrupted by Natalia. Natalia expresses her reluctance on listening to any of his tales. He just knows one thing: the Oxen Meadows are hers. So here the argument heated, both of them giving reasons why they are claiming that it's their property. But finally, Natalia is not ready to listen to Lomov's stories. He was telling that from their grandparents it was shared and used to make bricks, bake bricks. It was given as lease or something, but it is now from their ancient time itself. It's their property. In between, some disputes happened, but still it is their property. But Natalia is not ready to listen to Lomov's all these points. Natalia disagrees and tells him that he can do anything to prove his theory or wear 15 such dress jackets. This is a phrase meaning that she won't come under the influence of him being well dressed. She may not impressed by the way he dressed. Whatever he said is not agreeable. But she will never accept the fact that they are his. She clarifies that she wants nothing from him and doesn't intend on giving anything that is hers. But the Oxen Meadows are hers. Lomov clarifies that even he doesn't value the Oxen Meadows much, but he is just being fair and acting on principle. He even offered to make a present of the meadows to her. So both of them knew that those meadows or that property is not very much valuable, but they are adamant that claiming the property is each other's. They are not ready to give up or not ready to do any compromise. Both of them are arguing hardly for the property. Natalia offers to make a present of them to him because they are actually hers. She is shocked at how he is offering to gift her property to her only. She mentions that he had been acting very strange, and till then they thought of him as a friendly neighbor. But now he is not at all acting neighborly. Natalia's family offered him their threshing machine last year, even if it meant delaying their own process, but he has been treating them oddly. She feels that he is not showing due respect to them. He takes it as if Natalia is accusing him of being a land grabber. He gets offended and mentions that never in his entire life has he grabbed something that is not his. He cannot stand someone accusing him of the same. While sipping on some water, he mentions that the Oxen Meadows are his. So they are not ready to give up, even if the other person agrees that the person is ready to give this as a present to the other person. If Natalia agrees that the property is of Lamov's ready to give this property as a present to Natalia. The same with Natalia. But the ego plays a vital role here. Both of them are not ready to accept that the property is to the other person. And Natalia is recollecting or making him remember what are the help they have done to him, but he is behaving in a very disrespecting way, and she went to the extent to call him as a land grabber on who snatch land from the other person, like a thief or a robber. He didn't like that, so he couldn't tolerate that, he couldn't stand that, he couldn't tolerate that. So he said he never done that in his life, and he started getting nervous because the argument is going to a different level. Natalia still insists that they are theirs. Lomov is adamant on his view. Natalia feels the need to prove her ownership and thus decide on sending the grass cutters at the location the same day. Lomov cannot believe what Natalia says. Natalia insists that the grass cutters will be there that very day. Lomov threatens that he will hit Natalia's mowers. Mowers means grass cutters. Natalia threatens that he should not dare to do such a thing. Lomov gets aggressive and mentions in a high tone that the Oxen Meadows are his and his only. Natalia asks Lomov to behave and refrain from shouting in her house. He makes a mention of his extremely painful increased heart rate and blames it for his tone. Even in such a pain, he doesn't stop climbing the Oxen Meadows. So this argument went beyond their control, and it became a quarrel between these two persons. And Natalia, just said she is going to send the grass cutters, the mowers, to that particular land to claim that it's their property. And this man Lomov threatened her he will beat them if she sent them. Again, he was raising his tone. The argument went beyond their control, and she is uh, telling that she is asking him to behave properly because he is standing in her house. And because of this tension, his heart rate was increasing, and he was blaming it for her. We already know the condition of Lomov. His If he get tensed, the heart rate increases, and he may develop a twitch nearby his cheek, and it may leads to a kind of difficult situation for him, and it is going to such a level that much he got tensed and got angry. On hearing both of them fight, Shubukov enters to check upon them and ask the subject matter. Natalia asks her father to confirm the ownership of Oxen Meadows. Shubukov tells Lomov the same thing as Natalia. The Oxen Meadows belong to them. Lomov questions the claim made by Shubukov and asks him to be reasonable. He continues explaining his side of the story to him and gets interrupted by Shubkov. Shubkov interrupts and corrects him by mentioning that the only reason that the peasants got use Oxen Meadows for free was because it was a disputed land. But now it is very clear to everybody that the Shubkovs own it. He even blames him of not seeing the plan. Chubukov believes Lomov can prove something to be his when it's not. So here, because of this quarrel, Shubkov interfered in their conversation. Lomov said the same thing to Shubkov, that it is his property, but Shubkov agreed with Natalia, his daughter, said that it is belongs to Shubkov's family, and this and Lomov continued telling the story, but he stopped the story by saying that it was a disputed land. That's why the peasants claimed like that. Now everybody knew that that particular property is belongs to Shubkov, and he is accusing Lomov that he didn't check the plan properly, and he believes that Lomov could not prove that that particular property is belongs to him, because Shubkov thinking that that particular property is belong to him, not to Lomov. Lomov insists that he would prove them to be his. Shubkov also points out that there is no need to yell. Yelling wouldn't prove anything. He repeats the same words as Natalia and says that he doesn't intend on claiming something that is not his, and also doesn't want to give away what is his. He says it out of anger that if Lomov keeps on arguing about the land, he would rather give it to his peasants for free than to him. Lomov gets offended and asks him how he can give away something that is someone else's property. Shubukov gets irritated by the tone in which Lomov chooses to speak to him. He mentions that he is twice his age and deserves to be spoken with respect, politeness, and all that. So again, the argument continues. If this argument continued, Shubkov was saying that he may give this to the peasants who were claiming that it is their property. Then it was given to Lomov. So Lomov defending that also, how can he give, Shubkov give that property to peasants, because Lomov saying it is his property. Now Shubkov is get offended the way Lomov was speaking, because he is raising the tone. It is a sort of disrespecting. This is the way Shubkov feels, because he is twice older than Lomov. Lomov insists that his impolite tone is a reaction to what Shubkov has been doing. that is climbing Lomov's land. He calls Chubukov a bad neighbor and a grabber. Feeling highly disrespected, Stefan asks Lomov to repeat his words. Natalia interferes and asks her father to send the movers to Oxen Meadows at once. Still unable to accept what he just heard about himself, he asks Lomov to repeat his words. Natalia claims to possess Oxen Meadows and refuses to let them go just because someone else is claiming it to be theirs. Lomov threatens to take the matter to the court and prove it to them that he is the real owner. Shubkov accuses Lomov that he is just looking for a chance to go to court just like all of the people in his family. He insists that he go on with the proceedings. So here again, this man Shubkov is get offended by the words of Lomov and ask him to repeat the words because Lomov called Shubkov that he is a land grabber or a cheater like. Then he claimed that Lomov claimed that he would go with the court's proceedings to claim that that property belongs to him. And Shubkov accusing that all of his family, Lamov's family, are like that. They behave like that. They are bad neighbors. Like the word Lamov used to call Shubukov, he is get offended by that. So he is calling all the people of Lomov's family are like that. They just claim others' property like that. Lomov refuses to listen anything against his family and mentions that they are all respectable personalities, unlike Shubukov's grandfather, who had been tried for embezzlement. Shubukov mentions that insanity and irrationality runs in the Lamovs. Chubukov calls Lomov's grandfather an alcohol addict, breaks the news that Lomov's younger and ran away with an architect. Lomov mentions that Shubukov's mother was a humpbacked. While he was saying this, he felt a pull on his side and head. Thus, he calls for help and water. As the blame game is on, Shubkov calls Lamov's father a greedy gambler. Natalia calls Lamov's aunt a backbiter and that no one could match her level. Lamov complains that his foot is numb, calls Shubkov a plotter, says that he has pain in his heart. He adds that in the last elections, Shubkov was he does not complete the sentence as he feels dizzy. He calls for his head. So now the argument went to the level of just criticizing each other's family, and they by the time Lamov got a pull on his side and his head. Usually, he got this condition when he was tensed or nervous, and was asking for water, but the blaming continued, the argument continued, and he just tried to defend, but he couldn't. He was searching for his hat to leave the place immediately because he couldn't continue like that. He felt very dizzy, very tired. Lamo finally finds his hat and start asking for direction towards the door. With his heart pounding and foot numb, he feels that he is dying. Shubkov screams in anger and tells Lamov not to step foot in his house again. And Natalia tells him to take the matter to court in order to show that they are not afraid. Shubkov calls for the devils to take Lomov along. Natalia comments that Lomov is a devil and is unreliable. Natalia is surprised how Lomov first claimed their land to be his own and then possessed the audacity to abuse them. In the process of cursing him and calling him names, Shubukov reveals the real reason behind Lomov's visit that had been overshadowed by the argument related to the Oxen Meadows. He couldn't believe his audacity to come with a proposal for his daughter. Now the argument continued in a state they cannot continue like that. Lamov could not continue like that, so he decided to leave the place. He finally got the hate and he is asking for the direction. Still, the daughter and the father, Shubkov, just cursing him about his attitude, and finally Shubukov revealing that why Lomov visited that house, that Natalia even don't know a bit. uh, Actually he came here to propose Natalia, but the argument went to the extent that they even start cursing each other's family and each other. And he should go for just reveal why he came here. So I am stopping the explanation here now. The balance part of the story will be explained in the next class. Now all of you just read the text. Don't forget to have a dictionary while reading. Just write the meanings nearby those words. See you in the next class. Bye.